All right, what is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Mammoth Ego. I am here to share with you guys my current Thor build and a current, I guess, explanation on why I've chosen some pieces, how they all interact with one another, and some of the insane damage that you can achieve by minding some of these things that I've only until recently been unfortunately ignorant of. So we're going to take a look at, like I said, the insane damage output. We're going to talk a bit about diminishing returns on the stats and also how to overcome them or surpass their limited returns. And then, of course, we're also going to talk about the gear specifically. So stats, perks, and buffs. All right. So thank you very much for joining me here today. We're going to jump right in and we're going to start talking shop right away. So hello, and welcome. Let's get it on. Go. Hey, buddy. How you doing today? Yeah, you're just having a little kneel. All right, cool. So this is my current Thor right now on raid build. So there's something that I do need to point out right out of the gate here. There is two pieces of gear and two very important things that you need to switch out on this gear while you're playing for specific reasons. And as we get to the pieces, we'll talk about it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about here is my overall stats and my score sheet here, because looking at it on base value right now, you can see things are not overly phenomenal. They're not bad, but nothing about this build right here is suggesting that I should be capable of slapping millions of damages down, right? Right, exactly. So the first thing that we're going to look at here is we are going to take a look at the gear. I'm going to show you each one. So here's my melee piece. This one is a Resilience, Valor, Precision. This one's important for me right now because I have not farmed a lot of the natural comic book defense things, which I'm going to have a video for up very soon as well to explain some of that stuff for you guys. So bear with me. However, that being said, this is one of my few defense pieces that's important to my build right now. Otherwise, I'm rocking Valor and Precision with pretty high rolls. The gear perks on this one, Lethal Conduit, we're having mixed results with testing this one right now. So I'm reserved on whether or not this is proccing properly for the whole team or if it's just proccing for me. Light combo finishers and signature attacks deal vibranium damage. Now, this is super key because we need this vibranium damage. It's super important to the whole rest of the build. And then you have Odin Force Breaker, which is 15% damage while Odin Force is activated. So that's just a straight 15% damage bonus to everything you do while you're holding down your right trigger. And as you'll see, that right trigger is the key to maximum damage with my ranged hybrid build here, my ranged Valor hybrid build. Now, this is my hammer. And all you guys are like, wait, man, if that's a purple hammer, you're running a raid with a purple hammer? Yes, I am. Because in this instance here, the stat return on it is definitely much lower, as you can see, right? We've got 60s, 50, 60. Precision, Might, Valor. Those are also like amazing stats to roll on this piece, by the way. Now, if I can get this in yellow, I'm going to take it. If I can get it with some slightly different buffs, I'm going to take it. However, for the time being, this is my current best in slot for this. So the reason why isn't because of the stats, though, obviously. It's because of the perks and the buffs that come on it. So this one gives you a targeted buff. 36.3% chance hitting an enemy with a ranged critical attack will grant you a damage buff. This damage buff is insane. It boosts your damage up past levels that you cannot attain by raising your stats. It just completely demolishes the diminishing return factor and gives you humongous boosts. So do not sleep on the targeted range buff or the critical or the damage buff, sorry. Whichever your play style is, that is that is the type of buff that you're going to want to get. So if you're playing ranged, then you want a targeted buff. If you want the melee one, then you want the melee one, etc., etc. The one I suggest avoiding is called Faultless. The Faultless buff is for critical melee attacks only, which sounds like it means melee attacks that hit for critical damage, but that's not the case. It means you have to hit people from behind or unsuspecting attacks to achieve a critical attack. So I don't like it. It's too hard to proc for me. I don't care for it. In a ranged build especially, maybe some melee guys will be able to chime in and tell me why that's better, but for my build on this, it doesn't work. Next, we have some Cryo Wraps, which is the reason why I have this one instead of any other element, or why I consider this one a win, is because Cryo does affect Claw, and I do run this in the raid, so win. I'm using. Sorry. It also has a 65% chance defeating an enemy with a ranged critical attack grants an intrinsic buff. Now, this is super awesome because intrinsic for Thor is his Odin Force. Super key. Super key. And ranged critical attacks are something that I'm gonna explain in a minute here why that's super awesome, but you literally proc 1 million ranged critical attacks when you do excuse me, when you do this method that I'm about to explain here. Now, next is my chest piece. This is the only other actual raid piece that I'm wearing right now, and I'm only wearing this for 2 reasons. One, it has good stats, Might, Valor, Precision. That plays perfectly into my current build. And then I have Conduit Revival, so every time you revive your allies, you'll send out the Sonic Conduit to everybody. The reason why I'm keeping this piece on right now is because of the Reverberation Drive. 25% additional damage to enemies afflicted by an active Vibranium status. That's super key. Any of these damage bonuses that you can find and stack up that you can readily apply or have proc for you, they are very, 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 very good. Very good, because it's a huge damage bonus, okay? And then last but not least, I have my truly my only actual like defensive piece, which is my Cincture of Asgard's Scion. This one is Precision, Resolve, and Valor. This is where my only my only source of hit points comes from right now. But this also has the added benefit of the 8.5% chance when defeating enemies to activate a Jarvis barrier. This is super key for protecting me right now because I have moderately to no defense, and that Jarvis barrier will proc for 20% of your maximum health. So very good. And of course, it also gives me an increased charge rate to my heroic ultimate ability by 18%. So more Bifrost, more of the time. Super important. And then, of course, we also have the Odin's Augur. This isn't really the one ideal for this, but it increases maximum energy of the Odin Force meter by 10%. So you just get more Odin Force bar, which means more lightning. So win, win, win. Artifacts, we have the ISO 8 of Cosmic Affinity. Had to farm for quite a little bit for this, but the good news is that we figured it out. What you want to do is you want to go to a Snowy Tundra Elite Vault, and if you just stick to the left, there's 2 chests back to back that will provide you 2 DNA chests back to back that will provide you the opportunity to score something like this, different stats on it, or whatever. Or you can get a bunch of comic books, because it's also a great comic book farm as well. I'm going to have another video come up soon that explains that exact run for the purposes of the comic book, but will also be a nod to this as well, because this is where I pulled this artifact. So the reason why this is important, I got 3 stats on it that do pertain to my build, Precision, Might, and Valor again. The important buff here, though, is the Reactive Cosmic Surge. 13.6% chance taking any damage grants Cosmic Surge. It means anytime you take damage, you just start instantly healing. And your heroics start charging. Whoop, whoop, and you don't die. It's an amazing, amazing survivability piece for running high damage and low survivability. So 10 out of 10. Best in slot. You need one of these with a complementary stat piece for all your characters. I'm saying that right now. Everybody needs one of these on every single character. It is necessary. And last but not least, we have my triple Valor piece here. Now, this one is the highest Valor piece I've found so far, so triple 64s. The only thing that matters on it for me. The increased damage from signature attacks is good because we do hammer spin quite a bit to get our Vibranium up and get that proccing. Gamma resistant, whatever. The second thing on this, if you can get a form of charge rate, it would be amazing. But any of the other perks are fine here. So that is the current gear. I run the Tactagon as well because of the increase in damage and status damage from all attacks and enemies affected by status. It just adds up with all the other bonuses over here. And the fact that me and the squad are always doing different status damages all the time. Like we have painters, we have people who spread. Like it's crazy. So there's always people affected by status. So you always get that flat like 12% damage bonus. So 99% of the time, this is the setup. Okay. Now when we get to a boss and we really want to get that juiced up Bifrost damage. Now you know what I'm talking about. We've all seen it in all the videos. Pardon me. People hitting millions of damage and yada yada yada. So what you want to do for that is you want to switch from here. You want to switch this over to another triple valor piece, and you want to switch this to your Nornstone. Now, there's two schools of thought here that you're going to want to proc your Nornstone and then hop back into your thing and then put your Tactagon on. I'm going to tell you in live action, like it's really hard to do that. I'm sure you can get the hang of it and nail it just before cutscenes and whatever, but there are times like the Super Adaptoid, for instance, is just going to shield rush you and kill you while you're changing that, and you're gonna miss your opportunities to proc this trick shot. So I don't like doing switching during boss fights, so I'm never gonna recommend it. Do this for the scene before, but then you'll see here my heroics go way up, my range went up a bit as well, and yeah, things will be good. Plus, then you also get the second damage booster here as well. So it's important, again, to denote there's the boss run, and then there's the 99% of the time run, which is right here. You want huge sustainable damage. Now, the other thing I get asked a lot about here is my skills, of course. How do I have such and such set up? How do I do this? How do I do that? So here we go. My support heroic right here, we have set up for nearby teammates receive temporary damage boost of 25% when Fury is activated. Super key. Always play with your teammates in mind. Always play with your teammates in mind. I can't say that enough. The other skill that I use on this one is this right here, which is increase critical attack damage by 25% and critical attack chance by 10% for anyone affected by Warrior's Fury. So that includes yourself. You just get a nice bonus from that. Always have that on. For my assault, which is God Blast, this one here is okay. So I have this glitched, and I want you to see my other video on the channel about how to do this. But I actually have the Thunderstorm with 3 blasts and the triple God Blast running right now, and I have another video that explains that. But it's again crucial to maximizing your damage. The next one that I have on this one is the one that refills it by 5% for every enemy defeated. This will just literally just refill your God Blast all the time. There are a lot of people that will use this one instead. The increase while overcharged because of the next move that I'm going to show you. But I prefer to have it just refund the energy. But when you get to a boss, again, you're doing single target, so you're not really pulling it back. So then is a good time to switch over. All right, so boss mode the rest of the time. Then finally we come to the Bifrost. The main one that I use here is the fire, the plasma. I throw off a ton of negative on Thor. So having this positive down, burning everything up, really helps to activate battery. Battery is super key. And that's when you have a positive and negative element applied, you will get a huge damage boost from doing that. So I will probably have to make a whole other video explaining elements and battery for that to make sense, if that statement did not just make sense for you. Next, I use the Odin Force, automatically activate Odin Force Overcharge when returning from the Bifrost. So as soon as I come back, I'm just like, beast mode. All right, super, super key. Now, my masteries here, melee 1, we use increased all range attack damage by 15% because I don't really melee. The other two, increase melee stun and light and heavy attacks boost heroic charge. Both decent, but I'm range, so I don't use it. Next one, increase damage by unarmed by 15%. Oh, that doesn't seem right. Yeah, that needs to be on combo finishers. Derp. Either combo finishers or the air juggle, because your lightning will throw people up into the air, and then you can start getting bonuses from it. But also, when you throw the hammer at them, and it's flying through the air about to pin them, that also counts as an air juggle. His standard air light attack is also a juggle where it will throw people up. So if you find yourself doing a lot of that melee stuff, especially, that's the move. Otherwise, go with your combo finishers because, again, you'll see why. With my light melee signature attack, it's also a combo. It'll have a combo finisher at the end. Bonus damage. Third one we take here is takedown. Of course, this is the only one I ever take. Gives you a heroic orb on takedown. This is key to the build. Critical throw. So when you hold down and do the wind up spin to do the power attack, this will guarantee the throw inflicts 20% increased critical attack damage. Increased tornado throw to be unlocked. Wait. Is that the right one? Oh, yeah. Sorry. I got totally sidetracked. So this one will guarantee to the throw inflicts 20% increased critical attack damage. This one here I use instead of anyone else because it will smash through shields with just the regular attack. Super key. This tree I never use or try not to use. Burning intrinsic for that is garbage. I don't like that. And I don't like this one where you would bump into things. Because when you're flying around, you accidentally bump into something, you just explode, and it can be a nuisance. I use Ionic Bolts, so defeating an enemy while your Odin Force is active will strike nearby enemies. They literally will get zapped with Odin Force energy while you're fighting and destroying other things. And when you do like a large area of effect, it will cascade sometimes, and you'll see humongous problems. Maximum amount of Odin Force by 15%. And then reduce overall cost of using Odin Force by 10%. So that's when you initially hit the trigger, and that's super important because we spam the trigger. We're going to be spamming the trigger on this build. You also have automatic regeneration by 12% and something else I don't use. Some people, if you're melee based, you may want to use Power Hazard. Power Hazard is a really good one because when you're overcharged, your power attacks generate small electrical hazards. It does work for ranged as well. We do technically only do ranged attacks, but it's not necessary for the build, and I much prefer Lightning Field because when you're overcharged, you literally just lightning will be cascading down all around you all the time. Increased damage resistance by 15% while Odin Force is overcharged. This is super good for survivability. Coming out of the Bifrost, you're always going to be overcharged, so it's key to have on. And then, of course, increase all damage by 15% when Odin Force is overcharged. So that is the complete build there. The way that this all is going to spin together is super neat. Because that's a whole lot of information right on the whole. Now here is the farm room. We're going to take a look at how this stuff all works. We're going to take a look at total stat scores, and we're going to take a look at total gear ratings, blah, 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 what it should mean to you, and how you can start building your characters to be heckin' strong thumping thumpers too. Okay? So we're just going to come in here. I'm just going to load up a brutal chat. What we're going to do here is we're going to load up a room with a bunch of little bot boys in it, and we're going to turn it on to smash. Now I'm going to show you here that none of these are on right now. Everything's off, so there's no changes to my stats, no penalties, no nothing. We're just jumping. Synthoids on brutal, 8 size group. Now this is going to be huge. So the order of operations is really important here. You want to hit a critical hit to hit that damage buff first. Okay. Then you want to hit this Norn Stone. Then you want to open up your skill tree. Look at those numbers, babies. Bam! Look at those numbers. So now what we're looking at right now is our total maximum gear score, our maximum damage. Now, what I did is I went through and I actually adjusted each individual piece that didn't have like absolutely critical buffs on it and moved them in and out until I started to get really high scores, right? Boom, 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 boom. 189, 69, yada, yada, yada. Now, the next thing you want to do here, want to activate this. And let's just smash somebody right there, okay? Let's go back in here so everything's activated, everything's cool. So that's still not maximum damage. Remember that, okay? That's still not maximum damage. That was just how to check your maximum stats. Now my buffs are wearing off, so things are going to start wearing down. Now, the setup to actually attain maximum damage is kind of hard when you get to this power level. Because one of two things happens. Either the thing that you're trying to achieve maximum damage on dies, or you die. Because, admittedly, the defense on this is not super high, and when things don't get procced correctly, it can sometimes take a minute to get what you need out of it. So, keep that in mind. See the damage buff back up again. Oh yeah, you can totally throw your hammer at missiles, by the way. Now, while the damage buff is up, I also spam throw my hammer a lot. Alright, just to do that. But there it is. That's my current Thor build for maximum damage. You guys can see some of my power hits and stuff once I get into some Omega level threats, and that's going to be happening on Twitch TV pretty much every night of the week except Sundays. So please feel free to check me out. It's twitch.tv/mammothego. And as always, if you found this video helpful at all, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day.